Okay, so we're continuing to work on our parts here, and what I'm doing now is I'm just going to grab these points here, and so we're just going to do the same thing with this part here, just block out the bevels and move our points around, and then delete the edges, and then extrude our faces. Okay, so I'm just going to fast forward through this part here. Just copy this piece and this piece, and just by holding shift and then the move tool, we can copy them over. Um, Now let's rotate them 90 degrees. And I'm gonna go back to our reference and kind of see this is our piece here. So it's gonna be beveled a little bit and then extruded out. So let's, and then the other piece is gonna be on top of that. So I'm just gonna move this piece to here, and I think it goes right over top of our window. Um, so right above the window, which is where it's at right now. So I'm going to go to my edge mode, and then break this thing up, go to our isolation, and then front view. And I'm going to move these lines up. Oh, so let's put on preserve UVs again, and bring this up to about the top of this point here. And then let's grab our edges, and we don't need any of these. So we'll remove those, and then we'll remove these, getting that last one. And then none of these points we're going to need. So let's just remove these top here. Now we can actually extrude this out. So I'm going to go back to our perspective view, and looks like the top is extruded out a lot more than the bottom. So let's go ahead and do that. So if we extrude the top first, this is going to be probably, a pretty good depth. And then the bottom is going to be uh, um, the bottom is going to be just fine. So we're just going to move the pivot point, and I'm going to just copy this over to the left, making sure it snaps right on there. And then we're just going to make, I don't know, 8 copies. We don't need that many. So we'll just delete these extra ones. And then I'm just going to see if we can snap this. It is already snapped, but I don't want these two here because I'm just going to mirror the other ones over. So we'll just have 2 there for right now. And now we can work on this part here. So I'm just going to grab my pivot point and move it to the bottom left, making sure that it snaps to it. and it snapped right there. So I'm going to move this up to where we're going to need it at the top here. And it's not connected, so we'll just connect it. These also have to be moved a little bit forward so that they align with the front of the rest of the pieces. So we'll just snap. It's not snapping right, but if we snap it from right here to right here, there we go. Alright, so now this piece is basically going to be breaking up into other pieces so that we can use them for both. So right now I just want to move these points to line up with our texture, and we got to put on the preserve UVs checkbox right here, and move this on up. Then we'll move this to the bottom of this kind of bevel here, and move this down, and we'll move this to this make so the our boxes here, and I'm just going to move this down to about here just to match the other side, so it's going to be a little bit more or a little bit less, and then we can add another line in here, and I'll move this up to break out this box. So I'm just move this over to the left and then move that. That's pretty much well on the right. So we're just going to do the same thing with this part here. Just block out the bevels and move our points around, and then delete the edges and then extrude our faces. Okay, so I'm just going to fast forward through this part here. So we'll grab this end here and reset the pivot point to something that's on that piece, and then we'll just drag it with our snap. So now I'm just going to take these and snap them to the front, and grab this and actually extrude all this out more, so that it lines up a little bit better, and we'll get this top piece too, so it's going to be even with our other pieces here. So that looks pretty good. We'll just keep it to a simple round number of 25. Okay. So now these pieces look kind of like extruded in, so I don't really want that. So they're going to need to be extruded out more, and what I want to do is just select all of them and then deselect our other ones, and then we'll just drag them out so that they're above our other pieces. So I'm just going to deselect these points here, these faces here, and what we're getting is all these interfaces are extruding with our flat faces, so we don't want that. So just gonna get rid of those extra ones there, and this one here, and this one, and also the one at the bottom. Okay, So now we can extrude this out. So I'm just going to pull it out actually. So it's a little bit above the plane of the original piece um, to make this kind of stand out some more. Um, and we're almost finished with this. I just want to deselect some of these ones and then bring this out as a separate piece. And it's kind of going to be or like a ramp on the bottom there, which it kind of is in the real reference. So it looks pretty good. Okay, so now let's continue on with our upper piece here. Um, and we can actually, I'm going to take this piece and make it a bigger piece. So just by placing it right here, and then it's lining up to the front, that's good. So basically what I want to do here is make sure these two pieces line up because they're basically the same piece but in a different section, so they have to kind of line up. And I'm just going to snap them to this top part here, and let's grab this again and then just copy it over, and we'll see if it copies tileable. And if it does not, then we'll have to just stretch it. And I think that's probably what we're going to be able to do, is just stretch this piece. But I want to actually use this one, and then stretch it to the other one, and then snap it. But I don't know how far we're going to stretch it yet, so I'm probably just going to go to about the end of that window there and make sure that that's the right spot. So if I just connect or just snap it right there, it's a little bit farther over than our window, so I want to move these pieces over, but I think I should just scale it down until it fits. So it's still a little bit more, so let's just scale it down a little bit more, and then move it again, just so it lines up with our end of our window. So we just need to scale this up just a tiny bit more, so right there should do it, and then we'll just snap this to it. Oh, snap it to the end there, and now it lines up with our window pretty well. So I think that will look pretty good. And we'll just get rid of that piece, and then I'm just going to take a look at our reference here. And what we have to put in the middle is that Fox receiving, but we'll get to that. I just want to take a look at the overall view of the building and kind of see those pieces. You can see them on the sides there, next to the big Fox sign, which we're going to do last in this project, but let's figure out this first. So this somehow has to fit in here, so I'm going to align it to the center, and it looks like it's a little bit too small right now. So what we can do is, I'm just going to copy this over. Well, I'm going to have to group it. So I'm going to group it, and then I'm going to copy it over. And actually just move it over, and then move this over to where that was, because this piece is above the window and the other piece was above the doors. So basically I want to take this end and copy it and throw it on the other side. Just mirror it over, and then I just snap it right to this other end, the left end. And so that looks pretty good. Now let's just move them all and snap them to the left part here. This is a little bit better view to do that. You can see both points. So now it's still a little short. I'm going to move that to the left and then click off of that and then hit scale and just scale it to that size of that window down there. So now our granite at the bottom is a little bit off. But I just want to copy this over here just so that fits well in there, and then get rid of that piece, and then this piece we're just going to cut it. So if I could just isolate these and then select this and connect it, we can get some lines in there to actually cut it without moving the points. So, and these lines we'll get rid of later once I delete these extra faces here. And then we'll go back and delete these lines, or remove them, sorry. And then if you click on the vertices, we can remove these too. So now that all fits in there, we just have to fix this granite at the bottom and kind of make it, copy it one more time to this side, and then we'll do the same thing with this piece down here. And we probably, it doesn't matter how many we use because we're going to get rid of the lines later. I just want to make it a line so that it comes up pretty close. So it's gonna, I think 12 will do it. So now let's get rid of our right side here, and then we just click on the edges. It already has them selected. We just hit remove, and then we just got to remove these points. Okay, so now that that's done, I'd like to get more done on the above the doors here. So let's take a look at our reference here, and we're going to need a closer up shot. That is above the door, so we're going to have that Fox box office and our other piece, and then our green piece like in the middle of that. So it looks like these pieces are going to have to be moved. And also I'm going to ungroup them and then just move this over for right now, and this will be moved over again also to kind of fit in that middle there. And then I'm just going to move it forward so we can see that text there. So that's looking a little bit better. I'm just going to move this over just slightly to right there. Now we can go from our back view, behind view, and actually move it over to the right spot. And then this, I'm going to snap it to the left part over here. And make sure it snaps if it doesn't really want to, right? Oh, there we go. Okay. So we'll just scale this. But actually, better yet, we'll just move the points over to the right. Just snap them right to there. And then we'll take all this stuff and I'm going to group it and then mirror it over. So we'll just go up to group and then OK, and then copy it and then hit mirror and I'll hit OK. And then I'm just going to slide it over and snap it right to this bottom piece of the granite down here to the end of the door, right to that end there. Okay, so that kind of fits there. now we can actually fix this center here. And we have a few gaps here that we gotta fix. So this one, I'm just gonna ungroup. We're gonna have to ungroup this stuff to edit it further. And then if I select both of these and scale them in, we can actually scale them right to the middle. Um, so right there, but we're just gonna have to select their points, and then grab our vertexes here, and I'm just gonna scale them together just by holding the left mouse button and dragging my mouse up, lift up and then drag and then lift up again. So I'm actually gonna take this piece and move it over. Then move this over to the left a little bit and scale it down, scale it up. Make sure you click the X, Y, and Z position. We don't really need the Z one. So now it's up there. And I'm just going to do a quick save. And then I'll see you on the next video.